and it seems that I could have picked a better time to land in Israel than in the middle of almost a civil war, I would say. Things are pretty hectic. If you watch the news, you can see how things are escalating externally and internally in terms of the Arab-Palestinian situation in the West Bank, in Gaza, and the Israeli-Palestinian-Arab situation within Israel. There are different types of Palestinian populations outside of Israel, the West Bank and Gaza, which in one sense is within Israel, and the population which is within Israel, which has Israeli passports, Israeli nationality. For example, Nas Daily, if you know Nasir Yassin, he is an Israeli citizen, and he identifies as a Palestinian also. So there are many riots and upheavals, very similar to the Black Lives Matters protests that were here a year ago and were started in the U.S. about a year ago. It's exactly about the same time, which is very interesting. And yeah, very very interesting time, very challenging time. I'm personally, I'm actually, because I just arrived to Israel and because of the quarantine law, I'm gonna be staying the next, I think, 5 days. I have 5 more days of quarantine. I arrived on Sunday, so I'm not gonna be heading out to do kirtan yet. But I'm actually even doubtful if that's a good idea, because there are actually riots, people going out and expressing their anger, expressing their frustration, burning cars, burning, garbage bins and so on. And yeah, thank you for joining this stream. This stream is going to be dedicated to bringing peace to the Middle East with the only thing that actually going to bring peace, the holy name of God. There's only one God. He has many names, many addresses, many descriptions, but there's only one. And it's interesting because when people think about the Middle East, they think about a religious conflict, although I don't see it that way. I don't see that as a religious conflict, rather than a conflict of nations, nationality, and identification. And God has no identification. God is God. He doesn't belong to me or you or anyone. God is independent, or as we say in Sanskrit, Svarat, right? So welcome. This is my ashram, my shack here in Israel, which is just on the way to Nazareth, outside of Haifa. Hare Krishna, Karo. It's nice to see you. It's been a long time, and I have you also here in the comment section. I made it big so I can see each and single one of you. I'm God of peace people. Nice to have you here with us, bringing some peace to the Middle East. Pratam, Giftslok, Narayan, Hare Krishna. Who else is here? Sunil, Shal, Mark. Hey, how's it going, Mark? So yes, and this is my altar. This is my place of worship, my daily practice I do here. And underneath that, I chose to place today the set of books in Arabic that I have. Janardan, nice to see you too. So you can see here the Science of Self-Realization in the middle, and the Bhagavad-gita. And then you have the Ishopanishad, Beyond Birth and Death. I think at the very far right, it's Perfection of Yoga, or maybe Perfection of Yoga is one before that. My Arabic is not very good, but these are the books I recognized. And yeah, let me know what in the comments below which book you think will benefit the Israeli-Palestinian population, specifically in these days. Thank you, Carlos, for moderating the comment section. Really, really appreciate that. And there's another surprise. By the way, thank you. Either you're watching this stream live or you watch the rebroadcast. It's as good. I appreciate, I really value your presence here. And there is another surprise that I wanted to share with you. On the day of the day that I arrived, Sunday, to Israel, I received something really, really cool in the mail. I've been waiting for that for pretty long time, for about a year. And finally I received that on the very same day that I arrived back to Israel. Guess what it is? I have it here. Ta-da! the YouTube, how do you call it? The YouTube award for the 100,000 subscribers. And we're going to do some chanting, and then later, perhaps towards the end, I'm going to open it up with all of you. And yeah, probably I'll hang it there on the wall on the side or something. So it's a bonus thing that just got here. And my good old friend, my harmonium that I left here, my Aindra harmonium from Israel, from Mathura, from Holy Get. It's been a while. And yeah, we're also gonna do some Bhagavad-gita reading. I'll read a random verse, answering one of your questions or one of my questions that we have, an open-ended question. Sort of like the tarot reading that we used to do when I was back in Florida. And let me know down in the comments below, where are you from? How is your mood? What do you feel about this Middle Eastern conflict? Will it ever gonna end? How it's gonna end? Wow, it's been a while since I played this harmonium. I missed it. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishtaya Bhutale Shimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirveshisha Ashunyavadi Asitya Nisetrajine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Danta. Thank you for joining. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. God of peace people, thank you for still being here. Many positive comments, some weird comments also. Hey, Hare Krishna Lakshmi, how's it going? How is it out there in New Mexico? People who are doing violence. Don't love the Supreme, or not loved by the Supreme. Yes, yeah. We should not inflict violence towards anyone. Thank you, Jai. Towards ourselves, towards our neighbors, and yeah, so many great prophets came from this land, and unfortunately, very little of their testimony, of their knowledge, of their example is implemented, right? Like Jesus says, love your neighbor, love your enemy. I wish that was really more implemented here, especially here in the Middle East. So thank you for joining the stream, whoever just tuned now or been here from the very beginning. Really appreciate your presence. And I'm here in Israel in my ashram, just on the road to Nazareth and Akko, or the Christian city and the Muslim city. Hey, Vaishnav Thakur! Hey, Hare Krishna! Great to hear you chant again. Yeah, I'm also I'm happy that I decided to do some chanting with all of you. And yeah, I'm just in between these two cities. Some of you have seen the videos about the angry Muslims and the peaceful Muslims, and so many controversial videos that I did around this area. And yeah, some peace and balance is something that's really missing here. And really, who knows how these protests going to escalate, these riots. Oh, nice, Lakshmi. You visited different Native American territories. Cool. And who knows how it's going to develop. And one thing for sure that we can all help with is raising our God consciousness, raising our awareness of these high principles of life. What is really life meant for? What is the direction that all of us, regardless of our religion, spirituality, practice, status in society, we all aiming towards self-realization, to realize ourselves, realize what is happening to us in the world, to the world in us. And there's no better way to do it than chanting the names of God, the names of the Absolute, Allah, Jehovah, Christ. And we can all agree on that, right? So I don't see that, as I explained in the beginning of the stream, I don't see this conflict as a religious conflict, as many people like to think so. I don't think it has anything to do actually with religion. From my perspective, it has to do with people's attachment to identification, false identification, nationality, certain religious sect. My religion is better than yours, and so on. Piece of land. Otherwise, God is one. Everyone knows that. Everyone agrees on that. And quite often, still, especially here in the Middle East, I get the question of, who is your God? As if God became some sort of a business or a monopoly for a particular sect. Om Namah Shivaya. Thanks you for joining the membership program. Hare Krishna. So, and there are many also different political movements involved in that, who is most of their motivation is money, is getting funds from the UN, getting funds from the Arab nations, getting funds from the United States, and many of these funds, 80-90% of these funds, are not utilized actually for their subjects. For the subjects, they utilized to buy weapons, to equip themselves with military forces, and it's very unfortunate. And I recently did speak to someone who reached out to me actually from the West Bank, and he expressed his frustration and worry around what's happening there. And there are many disturbances, many challenges, but one thing is certain, that if we keep our faith in the holy name and keep our practice also, practically we do our service, we chant the names of God in our community, in our area, to our people, to the people who need that the most, and to ourselves, change will come. Sooner or later, change will come. Change in our heart will appear. So, without due any more waiting, I thought, why don't we ask a question, the Gita, just like we used to do with a tarot reading. So while I was chanting, I was contemplating a question. If you have a question for the Bhagavad-gita, I'll be glad to hear it from you also. Let me scroll in the comments. Maybe you already have some questions. Why I never criticize hummus? You mean Hamas? Like I'm not into criticizing as much as just observing and expressing my experience around that. And politics, I don't think it's healthy to go too deep into politics there. Sheree, it's not a religious conflict. Thank you for highlighting what I was sharing. Yes, I don't think it's a religious conflict. There is no religious conflict. Religion is one. God is one. There's many ways to express our path. Certainly, it's not violence. It's nothing to do with religion and God and spirituality. Stay connected to the Supreme Being everywhere. Jai Omkar. Thank you. Yes, everywhere we stay connected. One way or another, the experience we're gathering will purify us, I agree. I used to be into politics, and it just creates conflict with others and within yourself. Yeah, politics are saturated with a lot of negativity. Yeah. Hey, Putin is here. Putin wishes us to be safe. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Putin. So the question that I had for the Bhagavad-gita, and let me know down in the comments what do you think about that, is how this conflict gonna end, or what is the solution to this Middle Eastern conflict? And many people ask that for many centuries, pretty much, many decades at least. Let's see which seemingly random verse we're gonna pick up from this wonderful book, from the Bhagavad-gita. And the first one who, let's say, whenever I see stop in the comments, I'm gonna stop scrolling, and we're gonna pick the verse there. Oh, here. Kara said stop. Okay, great. All right, chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Wow, that certainly probably has some immense guidance there. Adhastro bravam pratatastasya shaka guna pravadha vishaya pravardlaha adhascha mulanda nasya shantantani karmano bandhani manusya loke. Translation: the branches of this tree extended downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. So this is second verse of the 15th chapter. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The description of the banyan tree is further explained here. Its branches are spread in all directions, In the lower parts, there are variegated manifestations of the living entities. There's so many varieties here in the Middle East. Like every area you go to, there are so many varieties, um, so many varieties and differentiations in culture. You know, even if you go to the same Jewish population or Arab population or Christian population, like in my city alone, in Haifa, there are about like 7 different waves or branches or moods of religion there. Baha'is, Ahmads, Sufis, and Christians, and different types of Christians, different type of Jews, of living entities, such as human beings, animals, horses, cows, dogs, cats, etc. These are situated on the lower parts of the branches, whereas the upper parts or higher forms of living entities are demigods, Gandharvas, and many other higher species of life. As a tree is nourished by water, so this tree is nourished by the 3 modes of material nature. Sometimes we find that a tract of land is barren for want of sufficient water, and sometimes the tract is very green. Similarly, where the modes of material nature are proportionally greater in quantity, the different species of life are manifested in that proportion. The twigs of the tree are considered to be the sense objects. By development of different modes of nature, we develop different senses, and by the senses, we enjoy different varieties of objects. The source of the senses, the ears, nose, eyes, etc., are considered to be the upper twigs, turned to the enjoyment of different sense objects. The leaves are sound, form, touch, the sense objects. The roots, which are subsidiary, are the byproducts of different varieties of suffering and sense enjoyment. Thus we develop attachment and aversion. The tendencies towards piety and impiety are considered to be secondary roots, spreading in all directions. The real root is from Brahmaloka, and the other roots are in the human planetary system. After one enjoys the results of various activities in the upper planetary systems, he comes down to this earth, and renews his karma, or fruitive activities, for propulsion. This planet of human beings is considered to be the field of activities. Hare Krishna. So the question that I asked is how this conflict in the Middle East will come to an end, and the message that I get from that. And let me know down in the comments what is your message, what is your transmission that you get from this verse around this question. There is no right or wrong. It's our experience and how the super soul, how Krishna guides us within the heart to absorb this verse and get the meaning. So for me, what was highlighted is really how Prabhupada, how A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami breaks down the creation and how this world, this earth, specifically the earth, is manifested through the modes of material nature. And it makes me think how the result of everything we experience, right? It's our karma, which is constituted by the modes of material nature. And unless we raise the modes of material nature, we raise it from ignorance, passion, to goodness, and ultimately completely break through the modes of material nature and come to Shuddha Sattva, the transcendental goodness, the solution will be very vague, will be very difficult, will not last, will be temporary, right? And we can see practically how this argument in the Middle East, how saturated with passion it is. This is my land, I've been here before, and you've been there after, or you're doing this and you're not doing that, and I want that, and it's all about the desire and the attachment for identification, which is mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance prevails in terms of what do we identify with, right? So as long as we identify with the body, with the temporary, we're ignorant because we not understand what is the real what is the real self, and what really prevails, what really lasts after and at the end of all these conflicts, right? my mentor actually, he wrote a BTG, a Back to God article when he was serving here in the Middle East. And the article was about how this Palestinian boy, he throws a rock towards the Israeli soldier. And the Israeli soldier is pointing his gun towards this towards the Palestinian boy. And let's say hypothetically, that's how he mentioned that in the article, let's say the Israeli soldier, which many times it happens, the Israeli soldier, he hurts or bruises or even kills, murders the Palestinian boy. And the Palestinian boy, let's say he kills the soldier. And because of their state of consciousness, because the state of consciousness is so much saturated with passion and ignorance in terms of their constitutional position, and they meditate very specifically on this Palestinian body or the Israeli body. So what happens, right? Yam yam vapis maram baban. As we meditate before the time of death, that form we achieve. So that form, that the Palestinian boy will achieve the form of the Israeli soldier in his next life, and the Israeli soldier will achieve a form of a Palestinian boy, his next life. So the conflict is never solved, you see. The conflict is just changing places all the time. One time I hate you, and then you hate me, and then I hate you, and you hate me. And in the meantime, our body is changing, our mind is changing. So this will never come to an end. And raising the mode of goodness, at least the mode of goodness, connecting to nature. What is nature, right? God. We all are after God. Some call God great, Allah Akbar. Some call God merciful, El Marer Chamim, Shochan Bamromim, who resides in the cloud, who resides in the sky. So let's start from there. Let's start from the common traits of our religion, of our culture, of our spiritual path, of our constitutional psychophysical condition. Why to go to what is different? You know, the differences immediately create this sense of false identification. So I really believe in this practice of chanting the names of God, and I think this is another common thread that we can all bring, the common thing and the common practice in all religions is chanting the names of God. Either you're a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew or any other branch of these religions, they all emphasize that. And I hope you feel inspired by this reading. Let me know down in the comments if how did you like the session, and maybe we do another one tomorrow in this theme of chanting for peace in the Middle East. And let me know if you would tune. And the thing that everyone's been waiting for also is the package. Let's open it up. Something that I've been waiting to for a long time. How does it go? Let's see. Okay, I think it's here. Yes, and in the meantime, while I'm opening, I want to share my gratitude to all the subscribers who made that happen. Without you, yeah. I would not be here today, probably. Who knows? Wow, look at that. It's cool. Hey, epic. Ta-da! Thank you everyone who subscribed, who shared my videos especially. That's what mostly helps the algorithm nowadays. Who pressed that like even once, who commented even once from his heart. Really, really, I cherish that. And yeah, it's so cool. You can see yourself there. Thank you, Surav, Sasha. Presented to Living Rama. Living Rama. Yeah. Here we have a recognition. Remember, usually they would like say, here's a letter, here, from Susan Wiskovsky, the CEO. Wow, it's official. We made it. When do you think I'm gonna reach the next milestone, the 1 million subscribers? Let me know down in the comments. So thank you so much for being with me. Let me know down in the comments in the rebroadcast or later if you think it's a good idea to do another stream like this tomorrow or the day after in this theme of bringing peace to the Middle East by chanting the names of God, the one and only God. And yeah, maybe let me know which book you like the most from the books, the Arabic books about Bhakti Yoga here. Hare Krishna. Appreciate every single one of you here. Vinu, Dira, Jai Omkar. Karus, thank you so much for moderating the chat. You're the best, man. Lakshmi, still here. Vladimir Putin, yeah, we got congratulations from Vladimir Putin, Nikhil, Sasha. All right, I'll catch up with you in the next stream. Resonate Bob, Mark, if you're still here. Oh Namah Shivaya, our new member in the membership program. Gavin. Yes, Jesus, he says, love your neighbor, love your enemy. So high, and I hope one day the people of Israel and Palestine will really implement his teachings, and including myself, right? It's very easy to love your good friend. Sometimes not also, but mostly, it's not as challenging, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. I wish you a good rest of the day and the week. Hari Bol. All glories to Shri Prabhupada.